Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Wingspan. This is a relatively quick review of Wingspan because I got the game only a couple of days back. I've only had a chance to play it once. I needed to get this guy up because it's the hotness, and I fear it's going to be the hotness for a while. It had a release and there weren't enough copies for everyone to get it that wanted it, so it got released again, and there still weren't enough, and so it got released again. I believe that I've got a copy on the third round of release. It's super hot right now. The last game that I can remember that had this level of hotness was probably Terraforming Mars, I guess, and just there's something about this game that people are just wanting. I wonder if this is a hotness because it's a Stonemaier game or because it's Wingspan. And I don't have an answer for that. I do feel, and this is from someone who has played pretty much all of the Stonemaier games, that this is a good Stonemaier game, but if it didn't have that Stonemaier title on it, I still think it would be a good game. There's this whole question mark over it. Is it a good game, or is it just because it's the Stonemaier kind of really cool thing? And I actually think this is quite a good game. There's enough going on with it to kind of be meaty and kind of really kind of picky, but it's easy enough to kind of understand what's happening all at the same time. And it's one of those few gems that hits that mark. I'm really, really happy with this game. I do have a question mark on it, a couple of question marks on it actually. One is with the production of it. There's a whole bunch of different coloured eggs, which is really cool, and all eggs are the same, so it doesn't matter which colour you're getting. And then there's a whole bunch, there's 5 different levels of food. My issue and my question and my head thing is there are 4 containers in the box for this food. I know that sounds like a really silly, stupid thing, but if you're trying to keep a separation on what's what, it's actually really hard to do that because there's only 4 containers. 2 of them are supposed to be for the eggs, 2 of them are supposed to be for the food. But how do you split 5 different foods over 2 containers? It does my head in a little bit. And I ended up just kind of meshing it up with the game that I played. And that kind of worked. But with the OCD-ness of my head, and I'm assuming with a lot of the heads of people who play games, because that it tends to attract that type of player, there's this, I just want to have, I need to know where my stuff is. And it's a really fine detail thing that just bugs me. On top of that, there's a thing with when you're taking your turn, you put a cube on the thing that you're doing. So you've got 4 things to choose from. And you put a cube there, and then you move it to the left, and move it to the left, and move it to the left. And each time you move to the left, if there's something that happens on the card that's to the left, then that happens straight away. And that's a really good way of tracking it. What I noticed in the game that I played was that people were really struggling to remember to actually use the cubes. I understand the need for the cubes. I understand the whole, you've got this many turns, and once your cubes are used up, then we're through them. I understand the moving of the cubes, but getting into a habit of doing that, I found was actually a bit tricky with people who have been playing a heap of games. They're just kind of not used to moving cubes that way to show this is what I'm doing, especially in the area where you're actually putting birds onto the spot. So you're paying food for the birds, they come onto one of the spots. You put a cube up to say this is the action I'm taking for no real apparent reason other than just to keep doing it and keep that thing going so that you remember to do it on all the other 3 things that you could do. I don't have a solution for that rather than just not having them and just putting a cube in when you take a turn, but I fear that just putting a cube in when you take a turn, you would forget to do it. So I don't mind that it's there. I don't mind the action. It's just one of those things to be very aware of with the players that are you actually moving the cubes? I did notice that one of the players was kind of taking the cubes she'd already put down to move, like there was no real thought process on that. I just grab a cube from over here and put it there. Yeah, just keeping track of those cubes across the table is a really good thing to do. I did play this as a 5-player game, which is the maximum player count on this game. I fear, and it's definite fear. I fear that if you are playing a game, and this is pretty much any of the games, with new players, you probably shouldn't play them at their maximum player count. As a general rule. This is a general rule, not an overbearing rule. It just takes really long. This game took forever to get through. I think it's because we had 5 players all not quite knowing what they were doing. However, the last round, which is last quarter-ish, a little bit less of the game, is we had kind of, because we were in the mindset of I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and kind of thinking through that way, it did go a heck of a lot faster. I think we got through that round in a half hour with the 5 players. That's play length, and it's very, very, very malleable. I think that if you play it as a 2-player game, and I'm really looking forward to playing this as a 2-player game, I haven't tried it yet, but I think this game is going to go really, really well as a 2-player experience. I think there's enough to keep it moving. I think a 3-player experience just as well. The 5-player is a little bit too much, at least with all new players. If everyone had played the game before, I think it would go a lot faster and we'd actually hit the mark of what is needed on this game. So we come back to that Stonemaier Wingspan question mark. Look, I really love the Stonemaier games. The only Stonemaier, and I have played every one of the Stonemaier games as far as I'm aware. The only one that's been I'm not a huge fan of that is Between Two Cities, but I have Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig. I really love that one. I really love the way that one works. So I think the Between Two Cities thing, I'm just bored with the theme of it, and the Between Two Castles theme, I really understand that. I get that. Of course, you can see on my shoulder I've got the other 2 Making Ludwigs just there. I think that really works well. I think that game should have hit a lot better than it did hit. The other game that I have been struggling a little bit with is the Euphoria game, and it's an early game of the Stonemaier, and it's kind of just feeling its way still. And I think that if I give it a couple of plays and get my head around the rules, it will work, rather than what I've been doing with that one, which is just trying to pull it out and go, oh, okay, I think this is how it goes. That does not work with this game. And I fear that doesn't work with any of the Stonemaier games, that you actually need to know them to present them, rather than putting them on the table and going, okay, I'm pretty sure this is how this works, this is how it... That's just a me thing of this is how I need to present the games to other players when I'm trying to get them to play them or try and get the piece to the table. And I will get Euphoria to the table. I believe there was an expansion for it come out really recently, so I'll need to get onto that as well. Wingspan, it feels different to pretty much every other game I've got. It is the only game I've got that deals with bird life and the characters of birds and characteristics of birds, and I actually really appreciate that, and I think that's actually why this game has hit its mark. This could have been I don't know if this is going to hit the mark because it's something so left field, but I think being left field is actually a good thing. In this array of board games we've got, we need those things that are different, not just let's have some more push cubes around and that type of game. So I really appreciate that. The production value on this game is right up there with all the Stonemaier games. They've got really good production value. Do be aware, however, I did find one card in the first play that had a misspell on it. So if anyone else finds that, please notice it. Please comment. There is at least one card with a misspell of, I think it's the birds is an R and an I in the wrong direction, which is easily looked over by people who are manufacturing, but it's one of those things where you go, oh, that's a shame. So one of those, it's just little stuff. I really like this game. I think this is a good game. I think this is a game that everyone should be playing. I think that I'm the first person within the groups that I move in that has actually brought it to the table. I haven't seen it on the tables before, even though this came out in January. It's now April. That's a good 3 months, 4 months since this game actually came out, and I've only just managed to get a copy. So if you have seen it coming through your Instagrams or through wherever you see games coming through, have a look at it, have a closer look at it. It's a worthwhile thing. It's got a really nice little bird feeder as the dice roller, and that's a really cool thing. There's some nice little things added into it. So look, I think this is a good game. Go on and watch my Gamesplaned, watch my Gamesplanation to see if you like it as well. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you'd like to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.